Hi, everybody. Welcome to Simply Cards by Kathy. I'm Kathy Ondas, and today is Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. It's been a while since I've been with you. I think I've done maybe 2 videos in the last 5, 6 weeks because I've been dealing with illness, one thing after another. So I'm finally feeling better and really anxious to get back with you. I missed everybody. So I have a lot to show you tonight, and it's actually a pretty simple technique, but I think it's one that we don't often think of. So we are going to use a simple masking technique. And with that, when we think of masking, a lot of times we think of using masking paper or post-it notes to cover an image up so that we can stamp around that image so that it looks like there's some depth and dimension to it. But tonight we're going to use masking to actually create borders and backgrounds and even a focal point to a card. So I'm excited to share that with you. So I am going to flip this camera down and we're going to get started. You may see my husband in the background. We have a new puppy and he is a little maniac. So he is blocking him out from coming in the craft room with me. So let's switch this camera over and we're going to get started. Okay, lots to show you before we get started. So I just want to, before we even get going, because I want to show you 3 different cards and how to make them with this masking technique, just different options for you. And so before we get started, I want to get all the business stuff out of the way, you know, what stamp sets I used and where you can find them so that we can just keep moving on from there. So the one thing I want to share with you is, and I'm sure you've seen it by now, excuse me, is the new mini catalog for January to April. It will be out January the 5th and should start mailing to customers on in December. So there's the new mini, you know, I can't open it. And here's the new celebration brochure, but some really wonderful stamp sets and papers and everything. So excited for when I can show it to you. For those of you that are my customers, you will be getting those in the mail. I will be sending them to you through Stampin' Up! So I'm going to show you the cards so that you can see what we're going to do. Now, I really like techniques and I don't do them as much as I'd like to. So we're going to be doing more of them. But this is a card where it's simple stamping. Simply stamps, ink, paper. Great for the beginner. You don't need a lot of new stuff to do it, but you certainly can step it up. Here's the next one, where same background, basic white, used a designer series paper or specialty paper, and then did the same design on a 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 square for a focal point. And then here is the next one where we did a border and added some die cuts. And I'm going to show you how to do these today. Now we're going to do this one as the basic version. And then these 2, because it is Christmas, and this is one of my favorite stamp sets, Forever Fern. If they ever retire it, I think I'll feel lost. It's so versatile. And I used it for Christmas last year and again this year for some of my cards. But I'm going to show you how to do this one in Christmas. But then I'm going to do this one and another one that you've not seen yet using different colors and for different occasions. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with our simple stamping one. Now, just to let you know what I'm using, and again, don't worry about it because it's all going to be on my website right down below the video. Within an hour of me being done with this. So, but I am using greetings from 2 different stamp sets. One is in the annual catalog, the Go-To Greetings. I am using that on the other cards I'll be showing you. I love this stamp set. I love the different scripts and sizes of the fonts. So that's one of the things. The next thing I'm using is the Forever Fern stamp set and dies. Now, this does not come as a bundle anymore. The Forever Fern stamp set's on page 73 of the annual catalog, and the dies that match it, the Forever Flourishing dies, those are on page 171 of the annual catalog. Now, we are going to use masking paper. I am going to show you how to use the masking paper. I'll also show you how to use the Post-it notes. So the masking paper can be found on page 149, right here in the lower right-hand corner. And let's see, is there anything else? I think there is. I use the seasonal label dies on this card, and on another one I'm going to show you when we make it in different colors. I do like those dies, so I did use that. And then last but not least, I did for the Christmas cards use greetings from Label's Brightest Glow stamp set. I'm in love with this Merry Christmas. I love the script and I love the boldness of it. So that is what we're using. And as we move along, I will show you more. So let's get started. And I'm going to bring in my cardstock. Now for my cardstock, if I'm using basic white and I'm using it as the base, I am always using the thick because I feel it gives me a little bit more stability. I rarely use it for stamping for my images and die cutting because I don't feel I need to. So I'm going to start off with this. Now, for my card, I want to provide a background. I want to add some color with my stamps, and I have almost all the stamps from this stamp set already mounted. And they're sitting over here waiting for me to pick what we're going to use. But I want to put that background or a piece of not designer series paper, a piece of masking tape or Post-it note across the center where I'll be able to stamp and protect this area so that I can add my greeting to it. So a couple ways you can do this. The masking paper comes in 5x7 sheets and it comes in a pack. And I showed it to you in the catalog. And all you do is the back, and I don't know that you can see this, but the back is perforated and peels off. So you just cut it and then add it to your card. So that's one way to do it. And I already cut a piece of this. This is 1.5 by 4 1/4 because my cardstock for, I believe, every one of these cards is a half sheet of 8.5 by 11. It's 4 1/4 by 11 scored at 5.5. So we're going to go ahead and add this. And all you do is peel the back off. And then you're going to place it where you think you want your center or where you want to be able to put your verse or your sentiment. And I do line mine up. I'm going to be honest with you. Those of you that watch me know I'm challenged when it comes to doing things straight. So I use my grid paper as much as I possibly can. And I'm just going to, if you can see that, the bottom line carried over clear across the paper. And I'm just going to add this here. Now, if you weren't using the masking paper, what could you do? Well, use a Post-it note. I don't have little ones, but I have a big one here. So what I would do is take 2 sheets of this off, and your sticky part is up here at the top. I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I want 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead, and I know if I stick this down, it's going to pull up very easily because it's a Post-it note. So I'm just going to cut that at 1.5 inches. Sorry about that noise. And then we're going to go ahead and you're going to line it up. I'm going to put it right over my masking just to show you. I want this here, so let's line it up. And then with the lines for the Post-it note, if you have lined paper, you can simply match up those lines or line it up on your grid paper. And you can leave it like that and you can just start stamping. So you can trim it off. You can hold it over, pull it up, turn it over, and just do a trim. And now you have masking paper using a Post-it note. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, and we may use this in one of our other cards. Now, you do have this left over. You can always create it with cutting another one, taping them together, and I use some removable tape. I've done that before, so or removable adhesive. So those are some other options. So just because you don't have masking paper, don't think you can't do this. So I'm going to bring in my colors. I'm going to use Evening Evergreen, Real Red for the berries, and we're going to do some Soft Succulent, my two favorite greens. So, and I'm going to bring in some of the stamps. I'm going to use this large one. I'm also going to use this one, and these are going to be my berries. So I'm going to set this one here. This is with Soft Succulent, and I'm going to start off with my big stamp. Now, when I have a big stamp like this, I typically turn my pad over. I find that I get less on the edges, and even there you can see that I've done that. So in order to, I don't want to smear that to my card, I'm just going to take my chamois and I'm going to clean this off. Now, once I do that, I am going to stamp and just make sure it's dry, and then let's re-ink. And we're going to start with our first okay. So I want to I'm just going to start, and you stamp off. Make sure you have paper underneath you, whether it's copy paper or grid paper. And I'm just going to start placing some images. And I even place off the edge. So there's one. So let's close this up. Now I'm going to go to my Soft Succulent, and I'm going to use the smaller leaves, and I'm just going to start adding around it. And I am stamping off. You can see that it is going off on my masking paper, and you can hear the puppy in the background here. I apologize. And then over here, I'm just going to add a little bit right in here. So you can see that's all protected. Now I want to add some berries. So I'm going to come in with my Real Red, and I'm just going to position them I love doing this because I think you can add a lot, and you can add just little bits and parts to it just to make it interesting. And I'm going to try to come in here with that. And that did overlap a little bit, but I'm okay with that. So I want to add a few dots to this for interest. I pulled this from another stamp set. And I'm just going to add a little bit here and there. And let's see if I can just get 2 dots there. All right, so there's our background. Now let's go ahead And I'm going to peel this off. I can grab it here. There we go. And I'm peeling back. I'm always careful when I do this. I've never had it rip my card. I've never had it taken the paper off, but it's still adhesive. So I'm a little bit careful with it. And if I wanted to, I could try using that again. I don't know that we will. And let's stamp our Merry Christmas. And do I have it here? I do. Let's do this in the Real Red. And then if we wanted to dress it up, we can add some of these festive pearls, the adhesive back pearls, either in the red or the green or the gold. But I want to finish my inside up. And again, simple stamping. So let's go ahead back in with this stamp with Soft Succulent. And I'm going to go ahead and just add some of the berries here. And then if I want a greeting, I can stamp that. But here is simple stamping. So, and we're going to add a few pearls here. Let's go with the Real Red. I'm just going to add 3. I'm using my pick tool to pick these up. I love the putty part of it. It makes it easier for me. And here's our first card, simple stamping. Okay, now let me close these up because then I want to go on and show you some more. But we aren't going to use these colors. So let's get these out of the way so we have a little bit more room to work with. If you're with me live, I'd love for you to leave a comment. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what you think of the card. We're just going to keep moving on. Now I'm going to use these stamps for all the rest of my cards. So I do want to clean them. I just keep my chamois in a stamp case so that it's always nearby. And you can see I've excuse me, been doing a lot of stamping today. It's actually the first 2 days, last 2 days are the first times I have felt like doing much. So my hands are covered. And I do apologize for the puppy in the background. He's got his bone. All right, so here's our card. Now, let's take a look at this one. This is the exact same thing, except I cut a 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 square. I did mask it off, did my stamping, and layered it on a piece of the Cherry Cobbler Festive Foil. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and again on a basic white thick cardstock. So easy to do. Now, we are going to do this one, but we are going to do it in different colors. We are going to do this one with, and actually I think we're going to leave that one for last because I have 2 more I want to show you. I want to show you how to do this on a diagonal. And here's the card we're going to make. We'll come back to this one. I wanted something different. I'm always looking for something different. I get bored with doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm always moving furniture, cleaning drawers, cleaning cabinets. My husband goes in and gets something and he can never find it. And it's just because I like things new, different. So this one I wanted on a diagonal. So we're going to do this and I'm going to show you what I did. The only thing different about this one is that we are going to reverse the colors. I wanted, when I chose to use this stamp set, this is probably one of the most versatile stamp sets I think we have. It's my first one I ever bought, and I absolutely love it. You can use it for anything. So we're using mint macaron, fresh freesia, and again, my favorite, soft succulent. So we're going to mask off with this. So let's go ahead and get the layers ready. This is again 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. And I'm going to go ahead and just burnish this with my bone folder. Again, measurements will be in my blog post right down below. The link will be right down below. So don't feel worried to copy those down because they're going to be there for you. Now I have a layer of fresh freesia, and the layer is 4 by 5¼ So let's go ahead and attach this here. I don't know. I think my glue got lazy with me being sick because I've not been using it. So every bottle I pull out is like stuck. So let's try this one. That one's a little bit better. And we're going to go ahead and add this layer. I love these colors together. Okay, so we're going to set this off to the side. Now our next layer is 3¾ by 5. And this is where we're going to build our background for this. So let's go ahead and I am going to, I don't know if I can use this. Probably not. So let's go ahead and cut. We're going to use the ones that we cut here. And I'm going to run it clear across. So I'm going to bring this down where I can reach it. And when you're going on the diagonal, make sure that you have that paper covered right up into the end. So by that, I mean, you don't want this to be like this and then hit that with a stamp. Make sure you have it covered. So let's go with this. And with this one, I'm using the Post-it note. And I'm going to leave this here because it's going to help tack that down a little bit. Okay, so let's go with that. Now, what I like about this, and again, I apologize for the pup, is that it kind of holds it down for me. And we're going to just start stamping. Now, with this one, we're going to use the mint macaron. Let's get this open. Let's get our soft succulent open. And we're going to get our fresh freesia open. So when I'm using colors that are close together, a lot of times I'll put the stamp by the color that I'm going to use it with, simply because like two greens, easy to mix up. So I'm going to go ahead and set this here, and we're going to start off with our big stamp, and we're going to go with soft succulent. Okay, and I'm just going to come in here and start stamping. Make your masterpiece. And let's come in with this one. I'm going to use the smaller stamp, and this is mint macaron. So let's come in like this. And I just play with the way things are kind of fitting in. I try to fit them in. And I'm going to get that in the corner. And then they're going to come in with our mint macaron here. And now let's come on with some berries. Now on this, I'm only going to tap the top because I don't have a lot of room here, and I want to fit this in like that. This one may not have as many berries as the last one did. And I'm okay with that because I can go in with my little dots and add some color with that. So let's just come in here, get a little bit on the end, and let's get maybe 2 here. All right, so let's keep this, close these up for now, just so they're out of our way. We're going to be using them again. And this one, we're going to do a happy birthday. So let's peel this back. And look at that nice crisp edge. Look how straight and crisp that is to be able to stamp your greeting. So I'm going to come in with this one, and we're doing the bigger happy birthday. This is from the stamp set that I showed you, Go To Greetings. I love this one. And we might even be able to get away with the bigger birthday. Let's take a look here. Well, that's a thinking of you. Let's see if we can. I think we can. Let's try it. Let's be a little crazy. So let's grab another stamp. And this gives me a chance to show you something. You know, I love the cling stamps, but they're hard to line up, especially when you have some writing on it. It's not like looking through the photopolymer. So I usually, again, use my grid paper and I line my block up. And then I look at my script or my writing and I try to just see how straight I can get it. Now, let's see how that goes. I am rarely ever try stamping without trying it out first because I have ruined many cards or fronts to cards like that. And then simply going to come in here and that could come down a little bit. Let's see here. Oh, let's try it again. And I always, if any of you have a trick for lining these up, I'd love you to share it because this is probably one of the hardest things for me is lining up the cling stamp greetings. And that is definitely crooked. Okay, let's go with that. Let's see how it looks. So we're going to ink this up. And then I want to come in on my diagonal. Now I have a nice straight edge, so it gives me something to line it up with. And I'm just going to try to follow that edge right down. And there we go. So here's the layer. Now, if you want to dress it up, you could go ahead, and I actually wrapped ribbon around it, and we can do that. I don't know if I want to use the Fresh Freesia. I think we're going to go with the Fresh Freesia. So in order to do that, I am going to just use my Stampin' Seal, and I'm looking at where I want to line it up. So it's going to go in right around here. I want it to come right above, and I like that some of the stamping can be seen through the ribbon. So I'm going to just flip it over here, and I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal Plus. This is a new one. And I'm just going to wrap my ribbon on the end, carry it through over to here. Let's make a snip And then I'm going to do the same. And then I'm just going to fold it over. And I want to keep it lined up. So with my Stampin' Seal on the back, I can just reach back and tuck that in. So let's go ahead and do this one. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's so hard for me to believe that December is day after tomorrow. And there's just so much to still get ready. So here we are. I'm going to reach back, tuck that in on my Stampin' Seal, and again, bring it around. I'm going to snip this on an angle. This is how I found it's the easiest way for me. It holds it down, and now I can go ahead and adhere my layer to the front of my card. Okay, so let's bring in the front of our card here. I like using the glue too because it allows me to have a little bit of wiggle room to slide. Hopefully my head isn't in the camera. Okay, so there's that. Now let's add some gems. Let's see if I still have them here. Well, we may have to forego the gems. They fell. And we'll come back to them. So that is the outside of our card. And then we would be able to add some pearls or gems to that. And then for the inside of the card, I'm simply going to go ahead and do what I did before. I'm going to grab, let's grab the mint macaron since that's our card base. And let's grab our berries. And I'm going to leave the blank inside. I often do that until I know who I'm sending it to, or whether I want to write a personalized message or stamp a sentiment on the inside. I'll often leave my insides blank until I'm ready to use them. Okay, so here's our second card. One with colors reversed, fresh freesia with mint macaroon and mint macaroon with fresh freesia. And hopefully I'll find the pearls by the time we're done here. Actually, we can use the festive pearls. We have soft succulent here, so let's just go ahead and add those. All right, so there's a card on the diagonal using the masking technique. All right, last card coming up. We're going to do this one, but we're going to do it in the colors of the fresh freesia, mint macaron, and soft succulent. Excuse me. I'm going to just take a quick sip here so that I don't start coughing. So our next card, I chose to use fresh freesia for my base. Again, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Always fold into the hill. You will get a much nicer crease and fold and a more even card. And okay, so for this one, I have a layer of basic white. And let me make sure I don't have, there we go, I have all this sticky paper here. And these are both let me see, 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to set this off to the side, and we're going to mask to make a border this time. We're not doing a background. We're going to make a border. So I have a piece of masking paper here that I cut. This is, I believe, 1 1/4 inches by 5 1/4. So let's go ahead and peel this off. And we may need our pick tool to do that. And this does peel back rather easily. Okay, so I'm going to turn this, you can see all my mess here. I'm going to turn this on its side, because again, I'm going to use my grid paper to line it up. And I want, let's see here. I'm going to line this up right at the 3-inch mark. Right here, if you can see that. And then I'm going to start here at 2. And carry it right on over to the 2-inch mark here. So now we're ready to start our border. So let's go ahead, and with this one, again, I am going to use my soft succulent. Make sure that's mint macaron. Always check. I've gone and stuck them in the wrong one. So when you think of masking technique, think of how else you can use it. I'm going to give a little bit here. And because we're only doing a border, we don't need a whole lot in there. So now I'm going to come in with my mint macaron. And I'm just going to do one right in here. And let's use our berries. In fact, this is such a small area. We're only going to use berries. We're not going to, or the dots, we're not going to use the big berries. I'm just going to come in here and just, no science to it, just place them around. And you can see there's some thinner areas here. So I'm just kind of looking at the space that I have and using it that way. So here we're ready to remove our masking paper. There we go. And look at that nice straight border that you have here. So now I'm going to take a piece of Designer Series paper. This is the Fresh Freesia. It is the 2021-2023 in color designer paper. And that doesn't look quite big enough, does it? I think I mixed up my pieces. So let me grab another piece. I did. And this is going to fit right on here. So let's trim this down. And we're going to close this up for a minute here, at least get it out of the way. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. And this needs to be trimmed at, I believe it's 3 1/4. So let's double check. It's about 3 1/4. So let's go with this, and it's cut at that, and we need to do 5 1/4. All right. So now I'm just going to go ahead and turn this the right way. And we're going to adhere this to the front layer here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're using the polka dots though. And let's add this on here. So this technique, just to go back to it, is great for going from simple stamping to stepping it up. And you can add a lot just to step it up. And it doesn't take a lot to add to it, but it sure does make a difference. So this is ready to adhere to our card base. And you can see I stuck the back in the ink. And then we're going to add our front. Oh, wrong way. Okay. Now I went ahead and I did some of the work for us because I knew this would be a little bit longer than usual. So right here, I went ahead and I stamped the same leaves I used in the design in the colors so that we can add them to our card front. I also made this a thank you and used the seasonal labels dies to be able to cut out this. And I used the smaller one of these to cut that out. So let's go ahead and we're going to pop up. I did not put the ribbon on this one. So let's go ahead and pop this up with some dimensionals. I'm going to bring our dimensionals in here. And we're just going to put one on each end. And I use every bit of these. Okay. Hi, Shirley. I'm glad you're here. A catalog, go over to my website and hit contact me, and I'll send me your name with your address, and I will be happy to send you a catalog as soon as they're released for the public, which will be December 1st. They'll start getting mailed. So just go over to Simply Cards by Kathy. Cards is with a K-A-R-D-S. The link will be below. Contact me and I will make sure to get a catalog out to you. So here's our pieces. So just going to arrange them a little bit, you know. I'm going to move this down just a little bit because those are kind of tall. Let's go with that. That looks better. And we're just going to start putting these on. Now you can put these on. I chose to do more of the glue than all the pop-ups just because of the mail, going in the mail. So you can use glue dots if you want to do that. That's another way to adhere them. And let's try this here. And then I'm going to come in with this one, a little bit of glue, and just off to the side. Now I want to add some color to this. So let's grab those festive pearls and go back to the soft succulent and just add those in here. And then I'm going to put one down in here. There's my 3. There's the front of our card. Now for the inside, I'm going to do just what I did before. A couple things you could do. If you had a scrap piece, you could cut an 1/8 or 1/4 inch strip of the matching designer paper. You could adhere that along the side or the bottom. You could mask this off and stamp just like you did here. Or you could do what I've done in the others is I've just gone in with the leaves and went ahead and stamped those in the corner. And I'm just going to add some dots to that with the fresh freesia. And we've made, well, I don't know, we have quite a few cards here. So let me just clear this out of the way, and we're going to bring them all into the front and take a look at what we've done. So give the masking technique, give it a try. I think there's so much you can do with it. You know, think of other stamps you have, how to use it. I'm always one that's going to promote to you, use what you have. We all have different likes and dislikes. We all have different amounts of supplies. Use what you have. And when you get something, make sure that you look at it in many different ways. I always look at how can I use, how else can I use this? I never want to use it in just one way. How can I pair it up and match it with some of the other stamp sets I have? So here's our simple stamping. 2 of them, one I made and one I showed you. Then we went to a little bit, let's move it over, where we added some designer paper or specialty paper and just did a 3 3/4 inch square with a little ribbon to dress it up. Then we went all out to step it up with some die cuts and using some designer series paper. And this is the candy cane, or I forget the name, from the candy cane bundle designer series paper. Now with this one, we went ahead and we did, let's see where our other cards went here. We have this one that we just made, and then we have 2 on a diagonal. So lots of ideas for masking. So I'd love if you'd leave me a comment. Let me know which one is your favorite. Again, give me about an hour. The post is done. I just want to add some of the cards we did during this video. And I am going to switch you back over. So I'm so glad you were with me. I'm glad I'm back and able to start stamping with you again. Don't forget about Connect to Create on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. This week, Pat is subbing in for me just so I could get started and get back to stamping and doing some videos. So I hope you have a wonderful evening. I will be back with you on Friday for Friday Fun at 1. And you have a great evening, everybody. See you soon.